Well, good afternoon and welcome to Speak and Communicate with Authority. It's absolutely excellent to have you here today for yet another webinar from iVoice Communication. My name is Donna Mac, and I come to you today with many decades of communication experience, first in corporate media and then in digital media, and since the year 2010 as an executive communication coach, a workforce trainer. I'm also a certified mindfulness teacher and the very proud founder and owner of iVoice Communication. We're a company dedicated to creating healthy human connections, healthy human business communication. And again, it's absolutely excellent to have you with us today. You know, so often when people see the word authority, this is what they think of, or this is what they think of. These are such old and antiquated ways of being in business. You know, I look at these pictures and I think of that old-fashioned way of doing business. We used to call it top-down leadership skills, where the leader would say, hey, these are the rules, these are the regulations, these are the boundaries, these are the consequences, and you do it my way or the highway, right? Do it my way or you're out. But business has so evolved and so changed. Do we still have a little of this in business in this year? Yes, of course we do. A few remnants hanging on. But we're talking about the evolution of business communication today. So you can move forth as a leader who not only has top-down skills, right? The ability to ask for what you want, what you need, what you value, but also bottom-up leadership and communication skills, the ability to build strong, trusted relationships. Now think about it, strong, trusted relationships. We need so much more in business. Of course we need our strong, trusted relationships, and we also need to speak with authority. So what are we going to do over the next few minutes? Here's the agenda, 3 things. First of all, ask yourself the question, do I have influence? And how much influence do I have? Then, if you answer that question with anything less than like an 8 out of 10, we'll share with you today. We'll help you update your existing business communication skills. And we'll also give you the ability to practice. And remember, through that practice, whenever you learn anything new, it's always or almost always uncomfortable. So we'll help you work through the discomfort so you can attain greater results. Okay, so the question again, as we get going on this webinar today, is how influential are you? On a scale of, say, 1 to 10, where do you feel as though you stand right now? So again, you might want to answer that question in the chat box. And as you think about it, I'm going to tell you a brief story. In the year 2019, I was fortunate enough to study with this gentleman. His name is Dr. Daniel Goldman. You might recognize that name because Dr. Goldman wrote the most influential business psychology book of all times. It's called Emotional Intelligence. And a few years after he wrote that really groundbreaking book that still is utilized all the time in business today, he also wrote a very interesting white paper, and it was on the 6 very distinct and very important leadership styles, the leadership styles that are most needed and most necessary in business. And he talked about 2 styles which are the most supportive. And they are, first and foremost, the affiliative style, and then the authoritative style. Now, when you move forth as a leader who has the ability to communicate affiliatively, you understand that people come first. And you hear that line in business all the time. It's our people who come first. And you are absolute masters at building really the sense of camaraderie and the sense of belonging. These skills, are they important? You bet they are. And the ability to move forth with with authoritative leadership or authoritative communication skills are more important now than ever. And when you have the authoritative style, you're really the most effective in driving change and achieving results. So follow me. We need to be both affiliative, right? Focused on relationships, and authoritative. So we need to have the ability to ask for what we want and what we need to drive business. So the question again is, where are you? Where are you today? How influential are you? Do you have the ability to be both affiliative and authoritative? And by the way, there are no right or wrong answers here. A lot of numbers coming through the chat box right now. More affiliative or more authoritative? Ah, Steve mentioning he feels like he's right in the middle. He has the ability to do both. Important. But again, no right or wrong answer. The most important thing here is for you to be aware, to be mindful of which way you skew, and to be mindful that we do indeed need both. Okay, thank you. So, updating your skills, because I'm going to guess you are on this webinar today because you do indeed want the ability to move forth as somebody who can communicate with authority. So the first skill, or the first tool I'm going to pass along to you today, is actually another question. Where's your comfort level? Ask yourself that question. When it comes to speaking and communicating, what is my comfort level on a scale of 1 to 10? With 10 being calm, right? I'm calm, I'm confident, I'm comfortable in my own skin when I communicate, whether it be with presentations or with just off-the-cuff conversations. Or if you skew, in the lower end, perhaps a 1 would stand for, you're really uncomfortable. Right? You might even be mortified if somebody asks you to do a presentation or to have one of those authoritative conversations. And again, no right or wrong answer here. The important thing is to be aware, right? To be mindful of where you currently stand. So if you skew in the lower numbers, okay, if you are mortified or certainly uncomfortable, if your comfort level really isn't where you'd like it to be, or really isn't where you know it could be, a couple of things. Number 1, notice it, okay? Number 2, ask yourself how your body's feeling. Does it feel constricted or does it feel expanded? This is important that you check in, right? That you attune yourself to how your body is feeling, constricted or expanded. And if it does feel constricted, and it's tight, right? Tense and nervous, and you can't relax. A couple of things you might be able to do. Breathe. First and foremost, breathe. That'll help you go from being more constricted to more expanded. As you breathe, you might want to place your feet flat on the floor and straighten your spine. Shoulders back and down. Chin basically level with the floor, in a posture of what we call quiet dignity. And then try breathing again. As you breathe in through the nose, the belly extends. And it's amazing how oxygen can take our stress level from wherever it is down a notch. Taking our stress level, taking our cortisol level down a notch. Okay? Do your best to control your nerves so your nerves don't control you. So that's the first question. And a few tools there. What is your comfort level? when it comes to speaking and communicating with authority. The second tool or skill is the ability to communicate in a direct manner. There's direct and there's indirect. Do you know anyone who communicates indirectly? For example, you ask them a question and 30 seconds in, you're saying, are they ever going to get to the answer? Okay, or maybe a minute, 30 seconds in, right? You're trying to follow them. You're trying to get an answer, but they're communicating indirectly. You know, there are actually two types of communicators, and they are called inductive and deductive communicators. This is something that Aristotle taught more than 2,000 years ago, inductive and deductive. Now, when you're more deductive and somebody poses a question to you, you're much more apt to get to the point, right? To answer the question by getting to the point, followed by the details. When you are more inductive, you start with the details. You paint a picture for people because this truly is what you believe they need before you get to the point. You know, slowly but surely and hopefully get to the point. So ask yourself the question, do you feel as though you are more deductive and direct, or inductive and indirect? Again, no right or wrong answer here. The goal is to be aware and mindful. Okay. Now, in business, we speak both directly and indirectly based on who we're speaking with and based on, the subject at hand. But if you do want to move forth as someone who has the ability to be more authoritative, practice being more direct. And here's how you can do that. If somebody poses a question to you, get to the point. Get to the point quickly and follow that with the details. And then you might even want to add what we call a wrap-up sentence. Think of it like this. The letters HEC. H stands for headline, right? Give them a headline. If somebody poses the question, how's the project going, right? How are things going with that brand new project? You might want to answer it by saying, the project is going absolutely excellently. And then follow it with some examples, okay? Or some experiences that you're really dealing with right now. You might say something like, yes, the team met yesterday, and in fact, we looked at the deadline, and it looks like the project is going to be completed right on time. Right? So again, you answered it directly. That was your headline, followed by some examples, followed by C, or a comment, or a wrap-up sentence. You might want to wrap up by saying, I don't know, something like, this is the greatest project that we've ever worked on. So HEC, headline, example, comment. You know, when you follow a formula like this, it does indeed help you to become a more direct communicator, right? In an effort to be more authoritative, more direct, and to the point. The last tool or the last skill is the ability to be well aware of what we call tentative language. What is tentative language? Tentative language, small language that keeps you down, that keeps you small. So you might hear somebody answer a question indirectly, and you might hear them use words like, oh, kind of, I think this is the best experience or the best project we've ever worked on. This is tentative language. So again, be well aware of language that keeps you down and that keeps you small. Try to answer questions as directly as possible. And also, when it comes to tentative language, you want to do your best to eliminate as much of it as you can as you gain the ability to what we call stand in your powerful silence. Follow me. Somebody poses a question to you. How's the project going? This is the greatest project we've ever worked on. Stop. Stand in your powerful silence. Now, the first time you do this, the first couple of times you do this, you might feel some discomfort, right? Definitely uncomfortable if you're not used to trying to eliminate tentative language and stand in your powerful silence and speak more authoritatively. But what you're doing is you're parlaying your thoughts and your feelings towards a specific subject, trusting yourself that you have an answer with the ability to stop after you make the statement and avoid what we call tentative language. Okay, quick story here. I'm going to tell you about someone I was working with not long ago. In fact, she and I have been coaching together for about 9 months. A very smart young woman. She's in the sciences. She's been with her company just over 10 years, and she definitely skews more affiliative. So she has no problems developing and maintaining strong, trusted, healthy relationships. However, she has been struggling with being more authoritative, right? Asking for what she wants, what she needs, and standing in her powerful silence. And when we first started working together, she was really challenged by many of the people that she was working with who dropped the ball. She said people are constantly dropping the ball on her. They're missing deadlines, right? So she would delegate duties, and then they wouldn't take her seriously very often. They'd take care of other people's work, right? Other people they felt as though who were more important, and they would miss her deadline. So needless to say, you can understand how frustrating this was for this woman who had to scramble quite often, had to explain to clients why things were late. And I must say that I'm so proud of her now because it was not easy. It has not been easy, but she's first well aware that she's more affiliative as opposed to authoritative. And it's taken time. It's taken time to practice those authoritative skills to really articulate what she wants, what she needs, her values, the deadlines, even the consequences if necessary, and stand in what we call her personal power. And she's been able to do it. And she's no longer scrambling, right? She's no longer picking up the mess. And think about it. Think about her productivity. It has definitely increased. And also think about the productivity of her colleagues or the people, her direct reports, the people she was delegating to. Their productivity has increased as well. So what do we call? We call this a win-win-win. Definitely a win for her. Definitely a win for her direct reports as well, and a win for her clients. And now that I think about it, I should actually add an extra win here. Win for her direct reports, win for the clients, and a win for the company. Simply by learning a few skills that help her to become more authoritative. And I want to wrap up this story with this comment. It took her a while, but she did realize that she can speak with more authority and remain calm and respectful and kind simultaneously, which is a whole webinar in itself, but I thought that was a very important thing for you to hear. Okay, as we start to get ready to wrap up, when we change, right? When our business skills change, when our business skills evolve, and all of a sudden we are speaking and communicating and leading with more authority, might we get pushback? Might people not like it and be uncomfortable themselves? Yes. Why? Because things are different. And Change is not easy. There was a book written in 2011 called Immunity to Change, The Immunity to Change, written by a couple of Harvard University professors. We do have an immunity to change. It is not easy. We do need to endure discomfort from time to time. That's why I'm introducing you to something here called the 6 pillars of mindful communication. And what I'm going to point to right now, because we don't have too much more time here, I'm pointing you to pillar number 6, which is called detach from the outcome. Now, when you're detached from the outcome, it doesn't mean you don't care about the outcome. Of course, you are still seeking a positive outcome. You're also always open to learning and always open to growing. But as you do learn, and as you do grow and evolve as a leader and as a communicator, you start to get to the point where you say, you know what, I trust myself. And if not everybody likes what I have to say, or my opinion, or my last comment, you know what? I'm not going to be devastated by that. This is how I learn. This is how I grow. And this is how I evolve into someone who can move forth as a leader or an emerging leader who has the skills to be both affiliative and more authoritative. You're detached from the outcome. You trust yourself. And when you trust yourself, this is the beginning of building strong, trusted relationships with others. If you want to talk more about detaching from the outcome, feel free to call anytime. Okay, in review, make sure you check in with your comfort level and ask yourself how you're feeling. Nervousness can undermine your ability to be authoritative. Also ask yourself, do you have the ability to communicate directly, to get to the point, followed by the details? And do you use tentative language? Do you have the ability to eliminate most of it, if possible? Eliminate small words like ums, likes, you knows, right? Remember, small words keep us small in our effort to move forth as stronger leaders, as stronger communicators, with the ability to be both affiliative and authoritative. So, we talked about leaders, we talked about emerging leaders, and we talked about the fact that life has changed and business absolutely has changed too. Of course, every leader needs a voice, and every emerging leader needs a voice as well. Why? Because it's the emerging leaders who very often see things that leaders don't see, and even think things that leaders may not think. We need everybody's contribution in this day and age. We need your voice. So if you'd like to connect voice to voice with me anytime, again, feel free to email. My name is Donna Mac, the owner and the founder of iVoice Communication, and my email address is info@ivoicecommunication.com. If you head to our website, ivoicecommunication.com, if you're ever in need of one-on-one coaching or workforce training, please let us know. We have quite a few executive communication coaching programs, and of course, our signature program as well, our 6-week live online program called Strengthening Leadership Communication, something we roll out just a few times a year. So again, Donna Mac, owner and founder of iVoice Communication, dedicated to creating healthy human business connections through high-level, effective communication. Thank you very much for joining us again this afternoon. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.